Welcome back to Mid-Morning Show with myself, Blanco, and it's been a really inspirational morning, getting educated and inspired in many directions. But it's also about giving back and understanding people's plights in life. And what a better way to do it today than to be speaking to the African Muslim Agency's team. They're going to be giving us a report back on their recent humanitarian excursion to Lebanon and, of course, the inception of Amaan School. And with me on the line, I have our, should we say, man of the moment, Mr. Chunara from Africa Muslims Agency, Mehrun Kara and Zaida Mohammadi. The two of them have been on a trip to Lebanon recently, and they're also going to be giving us some updates. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nafisa. Thanks for having us.
Wa alaikum salam. Shukran for having us on Salam Media.
Okay, Meru seems to be breaking up. Hussein, thank you so much for joining us. The man behind the moment, as I always say it. The person that's always uplifting, empowering, and creating that major sustainability. We want to thank you so much for, of course, being the main head there at Africa Muslims Agency, but joining us this morning to be able to make our viewers understand the importance of the trip and, of course, AMA's involvement in Africa. A lot of people will always ask the question, why go there? Why do that? But I just wanted our viewers to understand, and this is why I wanted you on this morning, was to just give us an idea of why we had to revisit and what was so imperative. And why is it that people need to get involved in this particular project? Because I think it's such an important thing.
Nafisa, shukran. Firstly, shukran for the opportunity to have us on your show on Salam Media. And I think you were soft there, but I think you're asking about why the Lebanon Amaan School of Excellence is such an important project. And Alhamdulillah, Africa Muslims Agency has been working in Lebanon now for a number of years, close to 5 years now, working in the refugee camps. We run Orphan Hope sponsorship programs where we allow donors to participate and sponsor orphans in these camps. Some of the projects we run in Lebanon, in the Syrian camps as well, Palestinian camps, is a Bread of Hope project, providing 152,000 loaves of bread a day across Lebanon, assisting the refugee community and the Lebanese community, together with other projects like Dignity Tent, which is important, especially with the winter season coming there. So, one is you take care of the nourishment, you take care of the shelter of a family, of a child, but then what? What's next? Because these refugees, Lebanon's a country of 4 million, of which 2 million refugees. And these refugees now been there for more than a decade, 10 years plus going. So people don't have an identity because they live in a refugee camp. They call refugees, Syrian refugees or Palestinian refugees, but some of these kids have never seen their homeland. And they wake up every single day in a camp. Nafisa, sometimes we think of a camp as a transition phase. Maybe it's a weekend thing. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year. But like Zaida and Mehrun experienced, these camps have been there for a decade, and kids wake up every day thinking, what am I going to do today? Every day is the same as I wander around a camp. And, I don't get education. So that's why we thought about education being so important as the next step, as part of a plan to then educate a generation of refugee children, vulnerable Lebanese children, so that going forward, these families' lives are changed. Remember, when you provide education to these kids, it's not just learning something, not just learning maths and English and extra skills. It's about
I agree with you, Hussein. You're empowering a nation. Let's put it that way. It's all about empowerment. And once you've given them that knowledge, it's something that somebody can't take away. They in turn going to take that knowledge and use it to empower and uplift and sustain themselves. And I love that long-term vision, because that's what it's about. It's being able to create these long-term visions where we can reach out and a few years later turn back and look at it and say, look at what I've done, because it's actually going to be, should we say, a domino effect where one particular child is going to be educated, but an entire family is actually going to benefit from that. So I absolutely love the concept and the ideology behind it. Let me go to Marion. Sister Marion, you've avid lover of education, wanting to stand for giving back. I know you. There's a little bit I know about you is that you've educated two homeless people, and education is close to your heart. And it's nice to see people like yourselves, even you, Zaida, wanting to give back in many directions. But we get back to you now. Mary, coming to you, what was the experience like, and what made you decide to go to Lebanon? Besides, I mean, we know your purpose of education is there. What was it like for you?
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Nafisa?
Alaikum salam. I'm glad to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. It's been a lifelong, like, how can I explain this? Like, you know, when you feel there's something missing, you do what you can from the side, but you feel you need to be with the people. And so it's been something I've wanted to do all my life. I wanted to hands-on meet these children, meet their parents, see what they're going through. And Nafisa, I tell you, every day was different, but every day it was so heartwarming to meet these people. They show so much love, they show so much care. And, you know, in a day you'd cry buckets of tears. And the next moment you'd be laughing with these children and enjoying them because they've got so much to give. My favorite experience on this entire trip was really the day that we went to Amaan School for the opening. We seen these same children at the Yasmin camp the day before, and you've seen them all, you know, on the sandy roads and doing what they could, and you felt for them, you felt sad for them. You know what our children have, and you see these children don't have that, but yet Zaida will tell you, they run up to you, they hug you, they kiss you, they have so much to give. And then you see them at the school the next day, the way children should be seen, in uniforms, with school bags and school books. And we went through bags with them, and we all the ladies were allowed to give them the bags and give them the stationery. And the joy that you see on their faces is unbelievable. You know, we played with them in the play yard, and it was heaven for these children. Look, for me, I understand that everyone needs food, everyone needs a dignity camp. And I believe education is really, really important, and that's why Amaan School. We need to be able to give these children something that no one can take away from them, ever. You know, they've lost their homes. They've really lost their identity. I mean, do they know if they're ever going to get back to Syria? But wherever life takes them now, they have the education to take with them. They have the skills to take with them. And inshallah, one day they do get to return to Syria. Imagine an entire nation of educated people that have skills, people that can build Syria together. And I think that is what they want to do. And not only Syrian people, even the Lebanese children, the underprivileged Lebanese children, this gives them and their family a chance to also come up in life. I mean, every one of us wants that. Nobody wants to just remain where they are in poverty, being sad forever.
There's some amazing pics coming up there. I see serious interaction with the children, and it looks like you've been having loads of fun with them there.
I did. I won't lie to you. I did. I cried with families. We cried with families. I tell you, every one of the ladies had a day where I think they couldn't see straight the way they cried. But it was all worth it, knowing that what African Muslims Agency is doing is making a difference. Being at the school, seeing the children, seeing the difference in the children, you know that whatever you are sponsoring is going towards a good cause. It's going towards changing lives. In the picture that you see right now, there's a little girl there. The one is an orphan. She has no mom or dad. The other little girl comes from an underprivileged home. She's an awesome little girl. Her name is Manak. She is a teacher. Would you believe she teaches children in the camp? Alhamdulillah, she is lucky to have been going to school, so she knows stuff. And she comes home from school and she sits. I wish I had that video to share with you. She literally teaches the children. Zaida can tell you, I mean, she's a little madam. She has children sitting in front of her and she's running the class and they're answering questions and lifting their hands. And so you see these children want to learn. I mean, they're listening to a child of their age.
And Mehrun, I so reiterate that back to what I said to Hussein earlier, and that's coming from you now, is that Manak has now, she's going to school. And this is why I absolutely love this idea of education in the Amaan School. And it's really gotten close to my heart too, is the fact that what is happening is, I spoke about the domino effect.
Exactly.
Amaan learned, but now Manak has learned, and now she's taking it back and teaching others so that they get educated in turn. And
now imagine that. Imagine all these children get educated. Their parents are going to learn from them. I mean, how much have I learned from my children? You know, Zara, you know, Nafisa, while teaching your son, while teaching your sons. We learn things that we never knew. So imagine how much his parents are also going to learn from their children. So it's not just teaching a child. It's really, like Hussein said, uplifting an entire community. It's going to make such a difference in their lives, inshallah. I think, we actually met children that said, when we asked them, what do you want to do when you get big? And they said, no, they want to do humanitarian work. They want to do what we're doing. Wow. So that shows that what we're doing has made an impact in their lives. It's not just like, oh, some auntie came to visit and now left.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, I mean, they see it through their lives. They see the change in their lives.
Right.
So,
and I'm sure that's what's actually impacted you, is knowing that you went out there and you just that little made such a difference. And I'm sure the reason I'm saying little is because we always feel there's always more that we can do than we have already.
Yes.
Zara, from your side, I know you're an avid lover of wanting to give back and passionate about uplifting people and changing people's lives. What has this meant for you, knowing that you're going out there with a very serious purpose? And as we know, Nelson Mandela also stood for it, for education. And I mean, our Sunnahs also, Rasulullah also spoke about the importance of knowledge. And knowing that you're fulfilling those types of things, what did it make you feel, and what really stood out for you?
Nafisa, assalamu alaikum. First of all, it was an incredible experience on every level. Seeing those pictures, you showed those pictures with Mehrun and the kids, like seeing them, it reminds you, because you see these children, you know their names, you know their stories, you know their personalities and their idiosyncrasies. They go from being, just children you see in pictures and you see, in news articles, to being very real human beings that you can relate to. They're like your little nieces and your little nephews. And, that I can describe meeting them was, and, Mehrun was talking about how we would cry with them and laugh with them in the next moment as well. And it's very much like that. They are teeming with life. They are teeming with tenacity. She spoke about that little girl who has such a personality, mashallah. And the only way I can describe it's, for the first time in my life, how your heart can be bursting and beating at the same time.
Yeah.
That's how I see these children and to meet them. But what really stuck out for me is their sense of tenacity and their sense of hope. Hussein was saying that they wake up every morning and there's not much to do. It's just sand and dust and dirt in that camp. They're so excited when Amma comes to visit, but they have so in them, right? Like Mehrun mentioned, they have so much in them, and they have such a drive and a willingness to progress. What I saw in some of the interactions were that they find solution, they hustle their way to find solutions, they find a way to make things happen. And if you give them even a tiny, tiny resource or a tiny chance, they take that and they run with it, mashallah. And that really inspired me, because so many of us can relate to this. We have access to so much, and we get caught up in the idea of, no, I need this, or I need more, and I can only make it if I have this much. And they are the absolute opposite of that. The littlest thing, they are able to really find barakah in that and make the most of it, right? We've been talking about the refugees, and poverty is really a cycle, Nafisa. When you think about it, it's a cycle. They came in with nothing, and that cycle will continue. And Amma has been doing amazing work there. We saw it firsthand in the distribution of food hampers, in the distribution of the bread, the dignity tents, and just seeing to the urgent day-to-day needs. The donations of listeners and viewers have made that possible. everyone.
Yeah, true.
But
And
then,
coming back, okay,
right,
so
the
let me just
cycle
come back to
doesn't
saying
end.
there quickly about those dignity camps. Hussein, I looked at one or two pictures. Unfortunately, what had happened was we seem to be having a problem with load shedding. So the videos don't want to upload, thanks to us. But anyway, what I really wanted to say was that, looking at those pictures of those dignity camps, the video and looking at a walkthrough from, and I'm hoping that we can put some videos of it later on your site so people can go and see and appreciate what you've done there. It's absolutely amazing because you look at, and I'm going to try and paint a picture, but maybe not, you can paint a picture for us of, I see that you sent me the video to see, what it looked like when I eventually where we were at.
Nafisa, you were asking about the dignity tents and what was it like and how is it now? And I can share with you, I was there more than maybe 2 months ago. And, a dignity tent provides a space, basically this is their home. It's a tent, but they call it their home. And sometimes these tents you walk in is maybe 3x3, 4x4 spaces. An entire family lives there. And now with the winter season dawning upon in that part of the world, you literally meet families and mothers who know that when they go to sleep at night, tomorrow morning when they wake up, their baby is frozen to death.
Sure, that's very comprehensive.
And children understand that. Children know it. Children know that I don't have food. Children know that I am at risk of dying overnight. We walked into one tent. We met a 5-year-old. We gave her slice. We gave the pita bread. A 5-year-old breaks half, eats half, hides the other half. Because the body is already telling the child, I literally do not know when I'm going to eat again. And that bread will go moldy. They'll put it in a packet. It'll get moist, filled with bacteria. We won't even feed it to our dogs. Weeks later, they'll dip into that bread and eat it.
Sure.
So a dignity tent provides them shelter that keeps them warm in the winter, keeps them cool in the summer. Provides them a safe space, provides mattresses, heaters, so it keeps the family warm. So the mud, the sludge, the sewage, and the snow doesn't run through their tent. And we talk about words like such as daya, and literally when people don't know where the next meal is coming from, you actually get to see it in front of your eyes. And like Zara and Mehrul will share it with you, you think you've seen the worst until you go to the next tent. So the need is massive on the ground of Visa, absolutely massive. The Amaan School, Amaan means safety. When you provide safety to a child, literally give them an opportunity, you give them a space of comfort, of security, you give them a platform. These kids, I look at these girls registering for an education, and they're looking up and they're trying to give their name. And I think, oh, these years, they were giving their name to receive a food parcel. And now they're giving their name so proudly to receive an education. What's in their heart? And you'll find that these kids define their dreams by, most of them, some of them who I met, define their dreams by what they see in front of them. What I mean by that is, if they see that their sibling is sick, then they say, I want to become a doctor so I can help my brother or my sister. Or the one child said, I want to become a pilot so I can fly my family away from the situation. So just like our kids have dreams, these kids also have dreams. And all this is opportunity to fulfill their dream.
Yeah. Meron, coming back to you, let's talk about a story that stood out for you, but we don't have a lot of time, so you're going to have to run us through it quickly so that we can go to Zaida as well.
Okay, so it was just a quick one. We visited a family, and there were 8 children. The eldest was 13, going on 14, Sumaya. You know what 13 and 14-year-old girls here are about. I mean, all dolled up, all pretty, all soft pink hands. This child's hands were stained with soil. She didn't have a smile on her face. Zaida will tell you, we all tried to coax her, we all tried to make her smile. This girl couldn't. When I'm saying, it's like, your lips are moving into a smile, but nothing else. And when asked, will she go to school? Would she like to go to school? Would she like to do something? All she could say was, no, that's not for us. Dreams are not for us. I have to work. My dad has a bad back. He can't go to work. So she and her sister were the breadwinners for the family. This was their life. It was terrible. It was the saddest moment for me. This child was unconsolable.
Sure.
And then we brought in the food back, and she waited back before, as the ladies like gave things out and took things out. She waited. She didn't rush forward. She wanted her brothers and sisters in front, like wanted them to take out things. She was so concerned about their well-being. She just looked at herself as a means of bringing in money, nothing else, not as a human being.
Imagine.
And then the two of the ladies decided that no, I think she should be gifted a dignity pack for girls, the BU campaign that the AMA is now running. And they brought that in, and they took out the shampoos. And that was the first time there was some twinkle in her eye. And she took her scarf off and she touched her hair, and she like showed it to them. And her hair was hard, Nafisa, hard. And the girls asked her, would you like for us to wash your hair? I mean, obviously through an interpreter. And she said yes. And they did it. And there was a change in her.
Sure.
Now imagine if a child like this has an education or has, for this family, I would think needy family would go a long way, because then she wouldn't feel she needed to provide food for them. That burden would be off her back.
Yeah, sure. Zaida, what was it that stood out for you the most as far as this trip was concerned? Because I'm sure it was a very eye-opening one.
I'm going to follow on a little bit from what Mehrun said with regards to Sumayya's case. I think a few different things out there, like Mehrun mentioned. What happens when there's a cycle of poverty? Children don't get to be children. Children don't get to dream. In fact, her sisters were very quick to point out when we asked them what they dream of, their answer like broke our hearts. Their answer said, we don't think people are scared of us. And the sense of unworthiness and the sense of psychologically being broken was very, very evident when we went to that tent. I think for all of us, it was something that really affected us on many levels when we saw that. And this is really what poverty creates. Poverty creates cycles. Children don't get to be children. Children don't get to dream. They don't get to have a hope in future. Each day looks like the next. It's just a survival of just trying to get something to pay for yourself, for your family. It's a very, very difficult life. And here's the thing. All of us here in South Africa have more power than I think we have, because we have a chance to break to interrupt the cycle. So we can sit here on the side. I feel guilty that, oh, you know, what can I do? Or, there's so many people, who can I help? It starts with one person, one child, one dream, and it makes a difference. As we've seen, one child goes out and impacts another, who impacts another. These people are for their community. So I think we need to look at, you know, the core problem. Yes, the feeding schemes are amazing. Inshallah, they will continue, but we need to look at the core issue here, which is how to interrupt the cycle of poverty. At the end of the day, education is going to be that. If I can quickly go over one particular child that really stood out for me, it was a little boy that we went to on the last day. And he's 4.5 years old and absolutely dire poverty. He lives with his mother and his older sister. His older sister is 11, but he has the understanding of a 4-year-old, right? And he's an autistic boy. This really touched me because my elder son is also. And I broke down on that day, because here's the thing: we tend to see them as poor people, right? But they're real people. Like tonight, his mother came to me and she looked at me and she asked me all of these questions, and she was almost thirsty for knowledge. She asked me, well, if your son is like this, tell me, can he do this? Can he do that? She had so much concern for her child. She had nothing. I tell you, the place that she lived in, she had nothing. She was so concerned for her child. We tend to think that, okay, poverty is their only issue. No, they have problems just like you and I. Just like they have problems with their spouses and with their children, they have problems just like you and I. They have tests just like you and I, except that poverty makes it way harder than it needs to be. And so their ability to meet and face those challenges is really difficult. And my heart broke for that mother that day, because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, alhamdulillah, I'm in the position where I'm able to give my son that. For her, it's really difficult, and poverty is what stands in the way. So each and every one of us can play a part. The smallest donation makes the biggest difference. If you have the ability to sponsor a child, I cannot tell you, inshallah, the amount of money into your life, but most of all, you are literally changing, yes, a child's life. yes, the family's life, you're actually changing an entire generation, because that one child then goes in and teaches the rest of the family. You've interrupted the pattern of poverty. And if each of us can have a chance to do that, then I think you've done something in the world.
Most definitely. Hussein, quickly coming to you. We are going to be, you are going to be having a dinner real soon. Give us some information about that. You're going to be, of course, trying to get in some extra funding for the Amaan School. Let's let our viewers know a little bit about it. I want to know if our videos are going to be played there, because if not, I would like to have the completed version with you guys and play the footage, because I think it's really important that people see the actual vibe of what is going on.
Speaking to what Zaida and Mehrun said, one child, one dream. We've got 3 events happening. First one happening on Sunday in Johannesburg at Aussie's Kitchen. Few seats are left. I would encourage you, contact the African Muslims Agency offices to book your seat and hear from Zaida, hear from Mehrun, hear from Ashraf Gariki, a principal and owner of a high school here in Cape Town, also part of opening the school, will be present here firsthand and be part of the process of fulfilling the child's dream. Because in that process, you're fulfilling what's in your heart, which is more important. Because Allah doesn't need us to change it to fulfill the child's dream, but it's giving us the opportunity. Cape Town, 26 November. Here in details will be on our social media pages. Durban, 27th November. So we have these one child, one dream events around South Africa. Then, of course, other events coming around South Africa from the delegates that have been active in Lebanon, in the camps, meeting with families, meeting with kids, sowing hope, changing hopelessness to hope, changing fear to love. And you can be part and parcel of this process, inshallah. So connect with us, follow us on social media as we bring you more live updates. But donate. 16,000 per child or any amount makes a massive difference to a child and a generation, inshallah.
I find this very interesting topic, and even though you're going to be having the launch, I would like to tap into you once again and play that actual footage so that people can get benefit and value out of what you do. Because really, honestly speaking, and I also want to commend the African Muslim Agency team and you ladies who are ambassadors to this team, because I know you've received the PMR Diamond Arrow Award, and congratulations, Allah reward you. May you be blessed abundantly for the type of work you do. And that goes to show that you're really doing something phenomenal. The acknowledgement, and it comes, of course, out of the public. So from myself and the team, we really want to commend you on the types of work that all of you are doing, going out there, and of course, believing in what I believe in, which is empowerment, upliftment, and sustainability, and creating that through passion and love. And creating, of course, networking support structures with ourselves so that we can get these types of things, should we say, taken further, and people can come out there and make that difference.
I mean, shukran for having us, and congratulations to Salam Media on your recognition and achievement of your award as well. And thank you for giving us the opportunity, because through this platform, one child gets sponsored, one morsel of food goes to that child's mouth. That's also for your reward as well, inshallah. So shukran so much for your kind words and having us.
And it's people like yourselves that actually make Salam Media, should we say, tick in the right way. So we want to thank you, because you always entice us into wanting to bring humanitarian journalism to the fore. So we're definitely going to be joining you on another session of this, as I said. And I hope to chat to you soon, and all the best going forward. You two ladies, phenomenal work. You're great ambassadors for AMA, and it's nice to see that you've taken that time out to be able to go and make differences in people's lives that really need it. So Jazakallah for joining myself on the show. It has been an absolute honor.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And there we go. That's our team from AMA, definitely giving back in many directions. And there's one thing we can learn from ourselves, is that there's more reward in the giving than in the receiving. So it's about time we looked at this and said asked ourselves, how can we go out there and make a difference and uplift and empower and sustain? But let's look at the long-term version of it as opposed to the short-term. Because, as we can see with the African Muslims Agency, that is the type of vision they're having. And that is the type of vision Salam Media is having as well. So for myself and the team, we seem to be run out of a lot of time. And thank you for joining myself on the show. And I'm hoping that we enticed you in many directions. For myself and the team, have a lovely one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.